Welcome to our TST Virtual Edition Seesaw. This is session 2. And today we're going to talk about some things building on session 1. So in session 1, which was not mandatory, this isn't you have to go through the steps. In session 1, we talked about creating a class, adding students using the home code, and then using the photos and the video tool. And then we talked a little bit about approving items. If you weren't at that one or you want to review it at some point, the recording and the slides are posted at the Mission Control site. What is the Mission Control site, you might be asking? Hopefully not. If you go to you know what, you guys, I'm going to try this. Hang on. Look at that. If you go to bit.ly/HESD Mission 20, it's going to take you to our distance learning site. There's tons of stuff on this site, and we add to it all the time. There's a tab for Blast Off up here, and then PD for DL. When you go there, you'll see each topic we've been talking about. The Google Slides and the recordings are right there for you. Okay? Check out the pre-flight section too, but that Mission Control site is there for you to have access to all of the resources. So our goals for this session, we're going to talk a little bit about using the drawing tool, which we touched on a little bit in session 1, but I'm going to cover it again because it's important. We're going to talk about how to plan and schedule activities. So most of our time this morning is going to talk about activities. And some of you may have used them already. Some of you might be familiar with them. Some of you, it might be brand new. This is going to totally blow your mind for how much this is going to help you stay organized. All right? So let's get started. As a reminder, if you're on an iPad, you start with the Seesaw Class app. And if you're on a Chromebook or a computer, you start at web.seesaw.me. Okay? Teachers, you're going to sign in, I'm a teacher, and then use the Google button. Students are going to choose I'm a student, and then they're going to enter the home code where it asks for a text code. Okay? That's not how it's going to be when we're back in a face-to-face situation, but for right now, that home code is the only thing they should be using, and they may need to enter it more than once, so they want to keep that handy. All right, I mean more than once, like they might enter it today and then tomorrow they're going to need to sign in again. It's fine. It's just a quick, I think it's a 12-character letter thing. All right. So the drawing tool. Let's take a look at what the drawing tool is going to do. As a reminder, there are 2 ways for you to share things with students. When you go to the plus sign, you could either post student work to share resources or let students comment, or you can assign an activity, which we're going to cover in a little bit. The first thing we're going to talk about though is here, when you post student work. And that takes you to that tool board, right? Where you have the photo, the drawing. Here's an example of what you can do with drawing. Okay, this student typed out the task. They're going to write a decimal subtraction problem that requires regrouping. They just used the text tool for that. And then they use the pen to show their work. Okay, so maybe you're going to ask them, show me an example of one of the problems that you did on the math page, put it into Seesaw. Choose the one you feel the best about. Okay, you don't have to look at the whole page. Looking at one is going to give you the feeling for, are they making a common error? Do they understand? Okay, so here's where you start. Of course, we talked about the plus sign. You're going to choose Post to Student Journal. For students, they go to the plus and they see this right away. Okay, but this drawing tool is what I want to show you today. When you go to the drawing tool, it looks like this. Hopefully this is a familiar screen. If you did a photo earlier, I guess last week or the beginning of this week, this is the next screen after the photo. But let's take a look at your toolbars. Okay, this is going to let you create text or labels. If you ever see like the little labels, for example, these are all labels. Okay, so you can add text, you can record voiceover to explain your work, you can add a photo from this point, and then in the more background, you can create shapes or add a background. Okay, this little quotation mark down at the bottom is going to give you where your drawing will post, and then there'll be like a caption underneath. So the quotation mark is how you do a caption underneath. Okay, on the bottom, sometimes, for example, these are all individual labels. I wanted to move one and it wasn't moving. This is the move the thing. So you click here to move an item, okay? In this is how you can rotate. And then in the 3-dot menu, there's like font style, label style, a couple different options. If you want to make the text smaller, you just drag these buttons, okay? And you can change the size. All right, but that's text and then moving it. You've got your pen tools, pencil, pen, highlighter, glow pen, and then you've got eraser. And if you want to change the color of anything, here's where you slide for your color. That's true for the drawing, the pens, the text, all of it. You've got your color picker here. Okay, so those are your basic tools. I would suggest when you're introducing the drawing tools to your students, just tell them, make me a drawing. Add some labels to it or text to it, but go to the plus sign, choose drawing, make me a drawing of something and post it. See how many different tools and colors you can use and let them explore this, okay? You have down here, add a page. So maybe there's one page and then you've got another page. You can have pages stacked up here and have multiple pages, all right? You've got your draft. If they're not done with it, they can save it as a draft. This is true for you also. If you're working on something, you can save it as a draft. And then your green check mark means I'm done with this part. Okay? So you've got your tools up there. Now, the big idea of the drawing tools, they're really cool on their own. Anything students want to draw, label, explain, that microphone on the drawing tool is huge because they can explain their thinking, which adds a layer to just turning in a piece of paper, okay? But the power of the drawing tool isn't necessarily just on the blank canvas. The power is when you combine it with other things. So when you add that drawing to a picture, take a picture of your work, underline your favorite sentence that you wrote. Like, I don't know, we used to do the dazzle words or something. Take a picture of your paragraph, circle your dazzle words, your great strong adjectives, however you want to do that, but use the drawing tools to highlight the photo they're submitting, okay? This drawing tool used in activities quite a bit, so they'll be familiar with it, all right? And then I already talked about this good starting place. Just have them make a drawing, create something. That's a great activity for this week as we're just getting familiar with the tools. Create a drawing, go to the plus, drawing tool, make me something. All right, that's the drawing tool. Have you used it? Have you tried it? Any questions you have, go ahead, type into that chat because we're about to move into activities.
Liz?
Yes.
Teachers post a picture and then ask students to draw or write on it?
Yes. So what you would do is post the picture and then students go to edit and make a copy and edit.
And we did have a couple questions on home codes, and that was covered in part 1.
Yes. So let me see, because I'm signed into my Seesaw. Here's where, when you're signed into your class, get home learning codes, you click on this button. If you're going to be printing something to send home, you would go right here. If you're going to need to tell parents, here's the home code, they go to download codes. But it's important if students are working at home that they're using that home code, not signing in with Google or the text code. They need to be using the home code. And if you want more information on that, yes, go to the session 1 and watch the very beginning.
Somebody commented that they use this feature with math problems.
Yes, very good with math problems.
And there was another question. They tried draft, but it said they had to upgrade.
If that's on the app, then update the app. If you're on your staff iPad with the Seesaw app, you can go into the App Store and update the app. If your students, they're going to go into self-service and reinstall the app. But it's true, you know, you think about Seesaw, I don't even know how many updates they've rolled out in the last month to prepare for, oh, teachers need this, we can program that and put that in. Oh, they need this, we could program that. It's when you have someone at home who they see in order to use this, you need to update the app. A parent is going to say, okay, update the app. And Seesaw is going to try to direct it to the App Store, and it's not going to work, right? So parents don't know unless you tell them. Go into self-service and choose reinstall on Seesaw. That's our version of the App Store where they go in and download the latest version. So that's how they update the app.
Suggestion was I printed out my home codes. I took a picture on my computer, and then I sent each student their own home code in their own school email so that they can look back to it and see it only for their own. That way they have it there if they want to look back. And it looked like most of them were able to connect. So
perfect.
That's another way that they could do that.
Thank you. Yeah, don't send home that whole packet with students. Hopefully nobody's done that, but you can't send home all the codes to everyone. That kind of defeats the purpose of the privacy.
We have, someone said they posted a link for my students and they were able to log on without codes. I just posted the link for my students and they were able to log on without codes. So
I don't know what link that is, but it's important that students are signing in using the home code because that connects them just to their folder so that they don't have access to everyone's work. So if you are maybe a kinder first grade teacher and you were on shared devices and students used the QR code, that's not the way they need to access. They need to use the home code, which actually gives them their own QR code or their own letter code. So if you had shared that classroom QR code, I'm going to ask you to take that back and share the home code with students for their safety. We can't have students having access to everyone's work at home. All right, any other questions on this?
We're caught up, thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to activities. And this is one of those things that's so good and it's so powerful, and you don't have to create anything new because the Seesaw ambassadors, it's not every teacher who's creating activities and submitting to the library. The Seesaw ambassadors are submitting them and then Seesaw is vetting them. So what I'm about to show you is the best of the best of the best. All right. So here's an example of an activity. And I want you to take a look at all the features here before we get started. All right. This is the teacher view. This isn't all of what a student would see, but describe something special. Here are the instructions. Pick one item that is special to you. Think of 3 things that best describe your item. For example, I love my stuffed kitty. She's soft, she's small, she's gray and white. And then it gives the steps. Add the response. You can see it even tells you, use that green add response button, take a picture, tap the microphone, green check and add to your journal. Okay, so the steps to complete the activity are prepared. All right, it gives a rationale. Family, why are we doing this? Here's why. And then if a student needs to hear the instructions, they're recorded right here. It's just a straight read of this section right here most of the time. Okay, so for our littles, they've got the audio instructions. All right, for teachers, they're flagged because you can filter. You can see how many people like it, 13,000, that's pretty significant. This is gonna work with all the devices. And then here are some standards, okay, to give you some standard connections. And then this is an example. All right, so you can see everything that's on this screen. That's basically what's involved in an activity. Now, to get to the library and find one, you remember with that plus sign, assign activity is in the middle. And you go to assign activity even if you're not ready to assign it yet, you still start here. Okay, you've got a community library and you've got your own library. So the community library is all the activities. My library is just the ones that you liked. So you can help filter them or keep track of the ones you want to use. Okay, in the community library, you've got some filters by grade level, by subject, or you can put in a keyword right here. Okay, this is where you're going to find all the activities, and I'm going to show you. There we go. My toolbar popped down. I couldn't get to it. Okay, so I'm going to show you. You go to the add button. You go to assign activity. I'm in my library. I'm going to move to a community. And I can filter for anything. I've got grade levels. I've got subjects. and I can put in keywords. I have no idea if there's anything for dolphins. Let's see. There we go. Okay, I know there are some for wonders. When you sign in, this account isn't connected to our district license, but when you sign in, I think you have district library or school library. Sorry, delivery at our door. And that has a lot of curriculum specific activities that people have done. All right, so that's a tour of the library. Let me come back over here. This heart is how you show that you like it. This heart is where you click to show that you like an activity. All right, then it's going to go into my library. So far, so good. We've got the assignment. You find one in the library that you like, and then you click the heart. Here's a shortcut. If you need a reminder of the steps, you can go into the slides. It's right here. Okay, now let's say you find an activity in the library, you like it, but you want to add something specific to your students, or you want to remove something that you think is going to maybe be too much for your students. Okay, when you go to the 3-dot menu right down here, you can copy and edit the activity. All right, and then you can change the instructions, you can record it in your voice, whatever you want to do, you can edit these. You can also add them to a collection to kind of sort them into folders if that's helpful. Right now, it might be helpful to have a week 1 collection, a week 2 collection, week 3, and sort into what makes sense with the 9 weeks of curriculum you're planning. You can take it out. If you change your mind, you can remove it, or you can share it with your colleagues, with your grade level team, you're talking with someone, you're like, oh, I think your students would like this activity. I think I have it. Go find it and share it. And it'll send them an email. Okay. So this little 3-dot menu has some pretty nice options in it. All right. I'm going to go back for a second. I'm going to stop just for a minute and make sure we're good on searching the library. And I closed my tab that's in the library. While I'm getting back into that tab, go ahead. If you have any questions about the library, type them in before I move on.
Liz, if they're working with Chromebooks, how would you recommend that kids take a photo of their work?
They have a camera. It's above their screen. Some Chromebooks have a camera on the front, but I don't think very many of ours do. So the best way, in Seesaw, you don't even have to use the camera tool on the Chromebook. You just tap photo and hold whatever it is up to the camera. Kids figure it out. All right. Okay, so I'm going to move on. That's how you search in the library, find things you want. Make sure you heart them. There are so many things in there. Even if you think, oh, this might be a good fit, click that heart and it'll make it so much easier to find it later.
Liz, how do you make a folder for your library, or is it just you use the heart?
I think it's in the 3-dot when you put add to collection, and you can make a new collection there. So the folders they call collections.
Okay.
All right. Now, the next step, when you're on those thumbnails of activities, the assign button is what you want when you're ready to assign an activity to your students. Okay. I want you to notice, you're going to get this screen. You can edit the students. That means you don't have to assign it to every student. This is a great way to differentiate. Okay, so you can choose specific students to assign it to, or just leave it and assign it to anyone. If you're familiar with folders and skills, and I'm not going to take a super long time to talk about this, but if you're comfortable and familiar with using folders, you can make this work go into a specific folder or flag it with a specific skill. All right, that's an advanced thing I'm not going to show you how to do right now, but if you're familiar with it, you can do that. And then you can either assign it right now, or you can schedule it for later. Okay, so when you're in the regular posts with just the plus sign and the tools, you can't schedule those, but activities you can schedule. So if you want an activity to show up Thursday at 8 o'clock, schedule it for then. Okay, if you want over the weekend to prepare everything for the next week, schedule your activities to go in at a certain time of the day and tell parents activities will post every day at 8:30. all right, and get those all set up and ready to go. So you have that option too. All right, so that's how you assign an already made activity. Now, this is super cool. Seesaw has made a document that has some suggestions of activities to start with, specific for home learning time, okay? If you open up the slides, there's a button here. If you're not gonna open up the slides, I made it into a bit.ly for you. So write down this address, bit.ly/2rx499u, and you can get it. These letters, it doesn't matter if they're capital or lowercase, I made it both. All right, so you're gonna wanna grab that document. That might help you get started. You can see they have some for routines. This is for TK. If you scroll down to the bottom, it has different grade level bands, so you can get into those, but those are just PDFs of recommended activities. Okay, so if you're a go-getter, you're familiar with activities, you've used a few and you're realizing, I really wanna create my own, go for it. Okay, you've got, this is in My Library, the plus sign create new activity, and then you just create. Give the directions, use the icons in your directions, more about that in a second. Audio record your directions, just straight read your directions, create an example, and then give your why statement. What is this accomplishing? What is the purpose for this activity? And if you have a standards alignment, add that in because it helps, all right? These icons in the directions, if you click right here, there's a document that has all, it's like a colon and then a word and then a colon. And when you publish it, that changes it to the icon, but that's here. If you're interested in that, come back to the slides and grab that little help. All right, so that's finding activities and assigning activities from the teacher side. The next thing we're gonna look at is what it looks like for a student, but just as far as finding activities, sorting them, assigning them, do you feel like you have enough to get started there? Or what questions do you have?
Liz, no questions at this time.
Fantastic. Okay, now here's the good part. You guys are gonna love this. Okay, so for the student sees their page, their feed. We've done the plus sign where they're adding something like this picture that goes into the journal here. To get an activity though, they need to click on the activities tab and they'll see that there's an activity for them because it has a notification. But you probably are going to need to let them know, look above where their name is, click on activities and you're going to see it. Okay. And then when they click on activities, here's the activity I posted. Okay. So here's what the student sees: the instructions, the steps, the family why, and then the audio instructions. And then here's an example. Okay, just like what we saw. Here they've got the instructions, and then they're gonna click add response. In fact, that's step one. Click add response, it's right here. Okay, now here's what always happens. Okay, I'm ready. Oh, dang it, I didn't read the instructions. I do this when I'm checking them out. Oh, shoot, I forgot to remember what I'm supposed to do. That's fine, because right up here, view the instructions. It's still right there. The audio is still right here, so you can see the instructions to know what to do. Okay, and then they can follow them. After they do, they post it, and it goes right here. Okay, and then it says waiting for teacher approval. So they're done. All right, that makes sense, right? Yes, my favorite item.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so here are the steps. Click on the activities tab, add response. If there's no template, in this example there wasn't, just start with the creative tools. If there is a template, the template will automatically open. So some activities start with the pieces there, okay? And then green check mark means I'm done with this part. All right, teacher must approve the post. Once the student responds, it doesn't show in the activities tab anymore. So when they don't have any more activities there, they've done everything they're supposed to do. All right. One of the things, one of the reasons I put these steps into the slides is so if you need to grab a screenshot of this, go into the slides in Mission Control, screenshot this, send that to parents so that they have the steps. All right, this is straight from Seesaw, by the way. Okay, so the teacher side, the students have gone through the activity, they've posted, you're gonna see you have posts to review, and you can review those. You can also get to those notifications in the inbox, but you have the red banner down here. Okay. And then here's what you're going to see. You're going to see all your posts. Sorry, stuffed animals are pretty much my main subjects right now while I sit here making samples. Here are your options. Okay. I know this is for an activity because it tells me in response to describe something special. Okay. I can watch it. I can leave a comment on it right here if I want to. I can approve it. It's done. It's good. Or I can say, oh no, you forgot to record the audio. And I can send it back with a comment. Please tell me about your item. I want to know 3 special things. Use that microphone and record it and send it back. Students will get it. They can resubmit it. Okay, so you have the send back. Or you can just delete it. Okay, so here are your choices. Again, I would scroll through all of them and then approve all when you're ready to approve them all. All right, so that's the approval process. Notice right here, you have unapproved items. You can click here and see them all too. Okay, so that's how easy it is for students to submit an activity. Now, this is the #1 reason I love activities. Look how easy this is. Anywhere on this screen, now hang on, I'm back on the teacher side. I'm in the activities tab. This is the activity I assigned, okay? I can click anywhere here to open it, but look at my information right here. I have 2 responses, 0 are waiting for approvals, 0 are drafts, 2 people have not responded, okay? One of the reasons this add response here is you have a sample student, you can go through this process and demonstrate it. In Google Classroom, there's no sample student, but in Seesaw there is. Okay, so you can use that sample student to see exactly what it looks like from a student. If you want to use Screencastify or your iPad recorder, record yourself going through that and just use your sample student to submit. Okay, but after I see I've got some responses, I can click anywhere in this and it's going to open that activity. And I'm going to see this. Okay, I see the assignment, I see the directions. Down here, I have thumbnails of everyone and I can see who submitted and who hasn't. I can click on, I'm going to click on this one. Oops. It's going to blow it up. I can watch it. I can like it. There we go. I can, I can click the like. I can click the comment. If you use skills and folders, you've got skills and forward folders right here. But basically, I can review it. I click right here to go to the next one. I can just flip through all of them. Okay, so this is a reason I want us to be really protective of our time and consider our workflow. If you have five activities, let's say, posted in the week, and you try to go through them every 30 minutes that someone's posted something, you're going to spend all your time going through Seesaw activities. So what I'm recommending when you post one, or if you're somehow giving your week's scope to families, I'm going to go through this one Tuesday afternoon. I'm going to go through this one Wednesday afternoon. Give them an idea, when do these need to be done? Today, do this one. I'm going to review it first thing in the morning tomorrow. Try to be protective of your pacing, because this can nickel and dime you into, oh, I've got one submitted, I need to go to it right now. And that's kind of getting parents used to, it's been 10 minutes and she hasn't responded. And you deserve to have some peace in your life and not be at the beck and call of every time something's submitted. All right, that's my aside for protecting your sanity. Maybe clarify, it's not that this is due at 1 o'clock, but I'm going to be going through all of them at 1 o'clock, try to get it posted by then, because we don't want to cause stress on families, but we also don't want to cause stress on teachers. I'm feeling protective of you guys too. Okay, so consider communicating something like that and then going through them once a whatever. All right, that's all there is to being able to review your students. Having this view of the thumbnails down here is ridiculous. It makes things so organized and easy. I think when we're back into a regular report card kind of routine, having something like this, recite your ABCs, whatever your skill is, show me your 2-digit by 3-digit multiplication, being able to click through here and go, mastered it, working on it, pull your small groups for who needs more instruction, this is such an easy way to have all your student resources or their work in one place. Okay, now, after everyone's done, maybe right now this is Friday afternoon to prepare for week 2. Maybe you decide. After everyone's done, you want to archive it. Archiving gets it off your list. Remember, for students, it goes away as soon as they complete it. But you, when you go into activities, you're going to see a whole stream of activities. After everyone's done, archive it. Okay? If you, for some reason, assigned it and no one's done it, like, oh, wait, I don't want to do that one, you can delete it. But you can only delete if there's no student work in it. Okay? If there's student work, it's going to ask you to archive it. This is the 3 dot down here in the corner. You can edit. If you realize something needs to be clarified and you want to add that into the instructions, edit it. Okay? If you have a family who's texting you, I can't find the activity, get them a direct link. All right, that might be useful if you're, again, writing up your week plan or something and you want to add links in there. I don't know if that's particularly helpful. Once parents know and students know, go into that activity tab. Hopefully for your over 2nd or 3rd graders, it's not parents doing this for them. Hopefully it's the students who know the system and can do it on their own. But you can get a link to the activity. And that's the student side of activities. I didn't divide it up by Chromebook and iPad because it looks exactly the same. It's identical. So if you have any questions, put those into chat.
Liz?
Yes.
Can teachers upload a video link from YouTube? And if so, how?
So YouTube, I've heard a couple things with YouTube as far as Seesaw is concerned. First of all, you can go, hang on. Don't forget your back to class in the top right. I didn't mention that. You can go here and you can add a link, okay? And you can put a YouTube link there. Or you can go to a note if it needs some explanation and you can put the link there. Or if you have a doc that has, here are your links. I know some of the kindergarten and 1st grade teachers, here are your links for the week. These are all our whatever videos. You can upload a doc. Here's another thing that I've heard though, and I haven't tried it, but if you make a Google slide and then in slides, go to insert and insert a video, you can put in the YouTube URL and it puts that video straight into slides so they can watch it right in that slide presentation. Okay, so that's an option. That doesn't mean the YouTube isn't filtered. So none of those things are ways to get around YouTube filtering, but they're all ways so that parents can access the YouTube from Seesaw and students.
Liz, are there activities on Seesaw that are already scaffolded for children with special needs or IEP goals? Or would the teacher simply just select from another grade level activity?
I don't know that there's differentiation within the activity. I think the activity has one set of instructions, but when you are in that Seesaw library, you can select from any grade level. And I would think differentiating that way. I'm sure there are plenty of activities in there for special ed population because they have so many different teachers using it. But I don't have a definite answer for that one.
If with so many students, how do we keep track of the work that is sent back? Does a student resubmit and does it state that it is a resubmission on it when the teacher opens it?
Yes. So it'll go back into your unapproved. So you'll have to approve it again. And it does notate that it's resubmitted somewhere.
If you hit send back, does it show up in their activity folder?
Yes.
After you archive it, does it stay in the student's, I think they mean thumbnail?
Yes, yes. So it stays in the student folder. That's why it's archived instead of deleted. So when I said earlier, the journal is for the stuff from the plus sign and the activities is separate, activities still show in the journal. Okay, remember when I'm here, I still have the activities showing here. And for the students that are signed in with their home code, they're just gonna see their own, but it all shows in the journal.
And how do you delete work that has been approved?
All right, so this is work that's already been approved. I can go to the 3 dots. I can delete that item. Okay, this is also where I would edit people. If I want everyone to be able to see this, I would edit people and check everyone so that everyone can see it. If I do that, in fact, let's test it. If I do that, do you see how I lose who submitted it? So I just need to add a comment to share who posted it, okay? But you would delete in the 3-dot menu if you needed to delete something. Students don't have all these options, by the way.
Brian's pointing out that the add response sample student feature would be a good way to give students sentence frames, sentence starters, and other strategies to differentiate, and especially for our special education students and English learners.
That's a great idea.
And that's it for questions right now, Liz.
All right. That's activities. There were a lot of steps in there, but I think once you get into Seesaw and you try it for yourself, you're going to see how it works pretty clearly. So some things for this coming week. Have your students use the drawing tools. Start with just an explore what the drawing tools are and have some fun, okay? Meanwhile, go into the activity library. Find some activities that support the learning you're wanting them to do and make sure you heart them so that they're in your library, okay? And then start with some fun activities this week. Hey guys, I want you to see how to use the activities. Here's a fun one for you to try this week. And have them go into that activity tab. Remind them, make sure you read all the directions and complete all the parts. And then don't be afraid to send it back with the, oops, you missed step 3. Make sure you record your voice. Oops, you forgot to sort them. Go back and try it again. Or maybe it's just, I want to see how this send back feature works. Go in and change something in what you submitted and submit it again. And then you can see there's nothing wrong with bringing your kids into learning the new tool like that and saying, let's see what happens. I'm going to send it back, change something, and then send it back to me and see how it works. Okay, so there are some goals for you for this week. I think that's it. If you have any more questions, type them in and we'll spend a little time answering questions. But I think you guys are ready to go with the Seesaw activities. They're so good and they're so organized and easy to keep track of.
Liz, in the send back area, can teachers record their messages or can they only type? So
no, they can audio. Yes. Thank you for asking that question, whoever that was. That's a great point. Yes, audio record. In fact, now more than ever, feel free to use your voice.
Okay, Liz, that is it. That's a
all
wrap.
right. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. Enjoy Seesaw. It's a great one. And we'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.